Disclaimer, this video isn't me throwing myself a pity party or trying to guilt you into supporting my work. I'm just here to share my honest thoughts and reach the people it resonates with. Cool? Cool. Moving on. Have you ever had your heart ripped out of your chest, torn in half, and then stomped all over the ground? No? Okay, well, have you ever proudly shared something you spent ages making on social media only to get so few likes that it feels like no one cares? Because that's basically the same thing. Once you've been an artist online for a good amount of time, that occurrence becomes very common, and sometimes it's not even your fault. Your art and or video could be perfectly fine, maybe even great, but still not get much engagement just cause it's at the mercy of an algorithm that works more like a lottery. Oh, you want the creation you spent hours on to be shown to more than 1% of your followers? That's a laugh. This stupid short form video you made in 30 minutes or less, now that can go viral. When I was a kid and first started posting my arts on Instagram, I often fantasized about becoming a big artist like all the ones I admired. I thought that once I had thousands of followers like they do, I'd be so cool and so popular and all my posts would get a bajillion likes. Now, at my Jurassic age of 22, I can confirm that this is what we in the industry call a fucking lie. I have over 11,000 followers on Instagram right now, which sounds impressive until I tell you that my posts, which used to get 500 to 1,000 likes with ease, barely reach 100 most of the time. The current algorithm is so bad that there is a negative correlation between how my art has improved over the years and how much engagement it gets, and the same goes for a lot of people. The reels do fine though. Oh, whatever would we do without our bootleg TikToks? Hey, remember when the whole point of Instagram was the photos? And it's not just Instagram, I'm coming for YouTube's neck too. Are my videos perfect? Of course not. Was it overly ambitious of me to think I could get monetized in my first year? Maybe. But there's only so many times I can make and promote a video to the best of my ability, only for it to flop anyways before I wonder if YouTube is messing with me. But again, the shorts perform so much better because why wouldn't they? I say all this to say that working hard on something and not getting the acknowledgement you were hoping for is one of the most demotivating things ever. People always say, don't obsess over numbers, just post your art for the fun of it, which is true, but it's not that easy. Humans are social by nature. If no one cared about other people engaging with our art, most of us wouldn't post it online in the first place. In fact, some people have to care a lot about engagement because their art is a major source of their income. Wanting attention for your work doesn't automatically make you a selfish clout chaser, and your post not performing well doesn't mean you suck at your craft or that you should give up. In fact, I'm here today to tell you not to give up. Are you struggling to stay motivated with making and or posting your art? Well, I have a handful of self-care tips that I use to keep myself going that'll hopefully be of help to you too. If you thought this video was gonna consist of like tips on how to get out of your flop era and gain a bajillion views, take one look at my recent videos and ask yourself if I'm the person you want advice on that from. Anyways, quick side notes to end this preamble. The length of this recording will determine if I use one or both of them, but the background time lapses are some Deltarune fan art from last year that are also available as merch on my ACG shop links below. And two, this video is primarily about struggles with social media engagement, but I feel like it'd be remiss of me to not at least mention how the rise of generative AI also plays a role in artist burnout. Unfortunately, I don't have as many tips for that except to glaze your arts as much as possible and remember that your handmade art will always be better than whatever slop a tech bro makes with lousy prompts. That should go without saying. Anyways, let's get going. Number 1, guilt tripping and self-deprecation don't help anyone. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with being insecure or wanting more engagement, but it gets to a point, dude. Constantly hating on your own art, begging for likes, blaming your followers for your lack of engagement, and all that sort of behavior isn't healthy for you or anyone around you. And when I say hating on your own art, I don't mean like simply acknowledging your weak points or how to improve on them. That's a valuable thing to do as an artist. I mean stuff like, ugh, my art is so bad and ugly and garbage, literally no one likes it. Which is especially odd when it's in direct response to someone telling you that they do like your art. Now me personally, I'd be tempted to agree the art sucks just to see what happens. Jokes aside, regardless of if you do this out of genuine insecurity or you're deliberately fishing for compliments, this is a habit you need to break for your own good. Even if you don't agree with the compliment, just say thank you and leave it at that. And another thing, be careful with the trap of making posts where you practically beg people to engage with it or lament about how you've been posting for X amount of time but haven't reached Y amount of followers or anything along those lines. I've been seeing a lot of Instagram reels of this nature lately, and while I can sympathize with the people who make them, especially the ones who are in emergency situations and get a pass in my opinion, I know a lot of people also dislike those kind of posts and for good reason. At best, it'll make people pity you, and at worst, you'll come off as pathetic and drive them away. Personally, I think the sweet spot here is simply saying likes and shares and whatnot are appreciated. It lets people know a good way to help you without feeling like they're being forced to. Number 2, you're always an inspiration to someone. Somewhat related to the previous point, but have you ever seen an artist lamenting about how their post flopped so bad, it got so little engagement, and then you look inside and the so-called flop has numbers you could only dream of achieving? Because same! Hell, maybe even I come off that way. It's easy to get frustrated and wonder why the artist is being so ungrateful, and in some cases they are in fact ungrateful. But have you ever stopped and wondered if you are that artist to someone? I'm sure there's a better analogy one could make for this, but I think of it as standing in a long queue. In front of you are all those big artists, the ones with more followers, more engagement, more everything. You keep looking ahead and thinking about how much you want to be in their place, but how often do you look back? Because behind you are people with even less of all that who think you're inspirational, who want to be like you. You call it a flop, they call it an aspiration. For example, whenever a video of mine gets 100 views or less, I feel really bad and see it as a failure. But there's people out there who would see those 100 views and think that's so cool. Even if all you're doing is having the courage to exist, the courage to post your art online, there's someone out there who will see it as the coolest thing ever. Don't disappoint them. Number 3, everyone's journey is different. Something I'm not at all proud to admit is the resentment I sometimes feel towards fellow artists who are better than me. On YouTube, for example, I've come across a handful of channels who make similar videos of similar quality as me, but unlike me, their videos performed extremely well early on, if not from the very beginning, and continued doing so instead of suddenly losing steam. Even worse is when they started later than me. I once found a channel with just 5 videos and each of them had more views than all of mine combined. I felt awful. But something I keep reminding myself I will now remind you guys is that channels like that are exceptionally rare. For every channel that seemingly lucked out at the start, there's hundreds if not thousands of other ones that took years to reach that same success, if they did at all. Probably, I don't know, I don't exactly have access to YouTube-wide analytics. Anyways, you might have noticed that I said seemingly lucked out. A YouTuber I watch sometimes called Vilder Art made this video where they mentioned that the first one on their channel succeeded not because of luck, but because they had a previous channel where they got all the experience needed to do better a second time. I highly recommend you watch that video in full, but my point is that sometimes there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we can see for ourselves. It's easy to look at someone with thousands of followers and or tons of views and just see them as some big artist who got lucky, but who's to say they didn't face all the same struggles of growing their account that you do now? Or that they don't go through an insane amount of stress trying to keep their engagement up? Or that their viral videos didn't just recently blow up and they had low views for months beforehand? You get my point. Comparing yourself to others is another common habit amongst artists that needs to be unlearned. Number 4, perfection doesn't exist. Stop aiming for it. Here's another video recommendation for you guys, one that my friend recommended to me as well a few months ago. It's extremely helpful for a ton of reasons, but something from it that really stuck with me was how he compared YouTube analytics to the Skinner box experiment. For those unaware, the experiment is one where, for example, a pigeon is put in a box with a button. Each time that button is pressed, the pigeon receives food, and this happens enough time for the pigeon to be conditioned to expect a reward every time it does the right thing. So when the rewards become random instead of consistent, the pigeon becomes extremely agitated, sometimes to the point of destructive behavior. There's a lot more to this experiment that makes it worth the further reading, but basically this is the perfect analogy. On almost every platform where I consistently post my art, this has happened. I make a certain type of post, for example an OC Ramble video or a funny little short, and it blows up way more than I expected. I'm like, okay, so if I keep this up, my channel will grow even more and make a few more of those types of posts. It continues to work at first, but over time they just stop performing as well, even when I improve on what I was doing before, which makes me extremely agitated too. Not to the point of destruction though, yet. Regardless of if you've gone through that exact scenario or not, there's a high chance you've looked up ways to improve your engagement. The best tags and keywords for your posts, how to make the best thumbnails, how to get people to stay on your videos, etc. There must be something you're doing wrong, so if you just do everything correctly and follow these tips perfectly, it'll be enough to make it go viral, right? But here's the unfortunate truth. While these tips can improve your reach, they're not foolproof. You could throw in all the tags and jingling keys and big red Mr. Beast circles you want, but that won't guarantee your success, especially on a platform where so many people are using the same tricks. Sometimes you get a reward for pressing the button and sometimes you won't. So instead of driving yourself crazy trying to win at a game that keeps changing its own rules, play at your own pace and do what you can. If you don't have enough time or energy to post consistently, don't force yourself to. If you'd rather draw your OCs than hop on the popular trends or fandoms, go right ahead. If you struggle with audio mixing and are worried that people won't like your video if the quality isn't perfect, buddy, me too! But trust me, there are plenty of people willing to watch quote-unquote flawed videos. I even have my own example. The audio quality here is complete buns, but thousands of people watch it anyway, so that counts for something. This isn't to say you should always settle for mediocrity. Like I said back in point 1, it's still good to be honest with yourself and identify the things you need to improve on. Just don't beat yourself up if you make mistakes or your work doesn't come out as good as you wanted. It happens to everyone. Moving on to my final point. Number 5, treasure the love you do get. Let's say you get 20 likes on a post. Based on your standards, that might feel really low. But imagine 20 people in the same room as you and all of them tell you they like your art. That feels a lot more special, right? Let's also say you only get 2 comments on said post, which probably doesn't feel like a lot either. But a little goes a long way. If you make a compilation of every nice comment you've ever gotten on your art, it'll add up fast, and eventually you'll have the perfect thing to revisit whenever you feel down on yourself. Social media often makes us forget this, but the people who interact with our posts are, well, people and not just numbers on a screen. So what if you don't get hundreds of likes and comments in quick succession? The fact that you get any at all is something to be cherished. Trust me, I have horrendous RSD and it's very easy for me to slip into the mindset that no one cares about my art. But that's not true at all. My friends and followers prove that wrong all the time and I'm forever grateful. So keep reaching for the stars, but don't forget to thank the people holding you up. And that's basically all I have to say. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect from this video. Maybe it'll be my next biggest flop, or maybe, in an extremely ironic twist, it'll be my next biggest hit. Either way, I really hope it resonated with someone and gave you the drive to keep sharing your art despite everything. If you have experiences or other tips you want to share, go ahead and put them in the comments. Special thanks to my $3 patrons Isaac, Rose, Jay, and Mara. If you'd like to get a video shout out like this as well as early access to my illustrations, videos, and comics, I still need to make an actual video about Vermilion, go ahead and pledge to my Patreon or simply join for free to see previews, sketches, and blog posts. You can also check out the shop I mentioned earlier, my adoptables on VGen, or simply follow me on any of my socials. Links to everything are down below. Thanks a ton for watching this far and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!